Hello everyone, welcome to CNA, the daily newspaper analysis. So today we are back with the following list of content to discuss. So let's start. The first topic says about Russia suspending New Start. So today we could see that in the recent times, ahead of the upcoming one-year anniversary of Russia's invasions of Ukraine on February 21, 2023, President Vladimir Putin announced the suspension of Russia's participation in the new Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty, which is for nuclear arms control. So while declaring Russia's suspension, Russian President Putin said that the West want to inflict a strategic defeat on us and claim our nuclear facilities, and that's why Russia is suspending the participation in the Strategic Offensive Arms Treaty, which is known as the New START Treaty. So therefore, in the recent times, though Russia has suspended its participation in the New START Treaty for nuclear arms control with us, it is said that it will continue to abide by restrictions. So what is this basically, this New START Treaty? So the name START comes from the original Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty, which is also known as START 1, which was signed between the US and the erstwhile USSR in 1991 and came into force in 1994, which got lapsed around in 2009. After this got lapsed in 2009, it was replaced first by the Strategic Offensive Reduction Treaty, which is known as SORT, S-O-R-T, which is also known as the Treaty of Moscow. Okay, and then by the New START Treaty. तो आज ये हम लोग जो न्यू स्टार्ट ट्रीटी बोलते हैं, तो it was actually named as SORT Treaty, which was renamed as Treaty of Moscow, and after that, gradually it is said to be the New START Treaty. So therefore, this New START Treaty was signed by the back then president of US, Barack Obama, and Russia's counterpart, Medvedev. So in 2010. And therefore, this New START Treaty came into force in 2011 and was extended in 2021 for 5 more years after Joe Biden took the office. But now over here, we could see that Russia is very much implicating that they will directly suspend this New START Treaty because they do not want to be a part of this treaty because of the growing contest from the West as well as the country of Russia today because of the Russia-Ukraine war. Okay, so therefore today we could see that this was basically news. So please do remember this START Treaty, which is maybe important for you in the upcoming meets. Okay, next, Corrupts Acts. So what is saying about this act? So recently in February 20, the Supreme Court observed that no one in India votes for a candidate based on their educational qualification and thus providing false information about an electoral candidate's qualification, which cannot be considered as a corrupt practices. मतलब हम लोग के यहाँ पे कोई भी एक इलेक्टर कभी अपने जो कैंडिडेट है एजुकेशन क्वालिफिकेशंस के बेसिस पे इलेक्ट नहीं करते हैं. ठीक है, so our leaders are not represented on the basis of education, rather they are dependent on the leadership quality that they can show when they are claimed to be one of the leaders in our respective society. तो यहाँ पे section 123 of the representation of people's act के बारे में बोला गया है. So we all know about the ROPA Act, okay, which have made provisions to talk about corruption and other illegal activities. Okay, it makes provisions for dispute redressal. It talks about the qualifications as well as the grounds of disqualifications of the MPs and the MLAs. तो उसी के बेसिस पे हम लोग देखते हैं कि यहाँ पे रोपा का जिक्र हुआ है, and that section of 123 which says about the corrupt practices defines about the relations of a person involving in elections through corrupt practices or not. So therefore, the Supreme Court has reiterated that any candidate who has given some false information with regard to his education qualifications and now he is basically a leader, so he cannot be acquitted as, or he cannot be directly been adjusted as a criminal or adjusted as a guilty on the basis of the corrupt practices. Okay, so that is recently being performed by the Supreme Court. Next, save higher ever fees from overfishing. So while the sea, high seas makes up more than 60% of the world's ocean, these have long drawn far less attention than coastal waters. The UN wants to protect them in global treaty. So recently what we have seen that every number of high seas, okay, which covers more number of 60% of the world's ocean. Okay, so यहाँ पे बहुत सारे क्या हो रहा है, the fishermen directly goes for various number of fishing. तो यहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा overfishing हो रहा है, and because of this overfishing, we can see that the regulations has totally changed as of now. तो आजकल deep sea fishing बहुत ज़्यादा होता है, जिसके लिए ट्रॉलिंग मेथड्स, बॉटम फिशिंग मेथड, जिगिंग मेथड्स, ड्रिफ्टिंग मेथड्स, चमिंग मेथड्स, ये सब यूज किया जा रहा है. So therefore, this is the growing concern today, and therefore it has been in news. Okay. Next, menstrual leave introduced in Spain. So this was the first country to introduce the menstrual leave. So we know that in our state, in our country, the Kerala announces the menstrual leave recently in January. So the Kerala government announced that it will grant menstrual leave for female students in all state universities under the Department of Higher Education, okay, to make and realize the gender just society. Okay, so therefore today we could see that this move towards acknowledging and addressing the often debilitating pain and discomfort that so many often forced to work through during the time of menstrual period. So therefore it will create more workplace and classrooms that are more inclusive and accommodating. Okay, so therefore here the country of Spain is going for the first European country to introduce paid menstrual or period leaves with a law passed on February 16, and therefore it was in news. Next, El Nino forecast this year. So we all know about El Nino. So recently this is in news because the El Nino, which is refers to a band of warmer water spreading from west to the east in the equatorial Pacific Ocean. And similarly, a La Nina occurs when a band of water spreads east to west and is basically cooler. So both phenomenon affect the weather worldwide and can have drastic effects on the economies that depends on rainfall. So therefore, today we are expecting El Nino year this year. So let's see what happens in the coming times. Okay. So let's see if the things come into prominence during the time of monsoons. So we will directly go ahead with this respective process. Lastly, turn off tap of urban bias, rural development. Okay. So here we could see that some of the major regions from rural-urban divide is that it is argued that the disparity between urban and rural areas have grown due to an inherent urban bias among policymakers and institutions. So we could see groups in urban areas are able to easily influence institutions that like the government in their respective flavor. And the spillover from the markets, okay, in urban areas is limited to the rural areas that are closer to the urban settlements. And therefore, the case of providing tap water connections in Tamil Nadu is an expansion of this bias. Okay, so therefore, if I have seen about the Jal Jeevan mission, okay, so the Jal Jeevan mission is basically having some number of production towards the and targeted measures towards developing rural areas. And its aim is to provide some of the safe and adequate drinking water to all households in rural India by 2024. So therefore, the benefits of the safe drinking water is many because it will impact health and nutrition. It could reduce the drudgery faced by women and girl children, and it will also help in achieving the 6th sustainable developmental goal, which is availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all by 2030. And therefore, we can see how Tamil Nadu directly has progressed better than all other states in the first 2 quarters of 2022. And in some districts, significant progress was registered. Supposedly, Kanchipuram, 100%, Ranipet, 98%, Kanyakumari, 83.9%. And also, some of the other districts have got progress to have such number of water connections in every households. So therefore, government should prioritize the implementation of this Jal Jeevan Mission scheme in districts with high rural population, which will further benefit the government to target the urban bias and meet SDG goal of 6. It would further have a demonstration effect on other districts of the country. And apart from the data on tap water connections, additional details on the volume of water being supplied per day and its quality needs to be rendered so that we can provide some of the good number of clean water towards every household, basically in the rural areas. So Tamil Nadu is a great success in this respective case. Okay. So this is all with the respective analysis of today. So we'll meet tomorrow with the same type of analysis. Okay. So till then, you just answer this 5 MCQs given in your slide. Okay. So we'll meet again tomorrow with a promise of coming tomorrow with some of the greatest topics that is currently in news. So that's all for today. Thank you and Jai Hind.